What's up, everybody? Welcome into A to Z Sports Picks. Brian and I are going to have a great show for you this Tuesday. Get you set up for the betting week. Brian, my man, looking good, brother. How we doing?
Oh, doing great, my man. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's get to it.
I'm with it, buddy. I'm with you. Everybody, welcome in A to Z Sports Picks. I'm Alan Bell, CBS Sportsline, alongside Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com. A to Z Sports Picks is brought to you every Tuesday and Friday by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Everyone, make sure to download that BetMGM app. Use promo code A to Z Sports and get a risk-free bet of up to $1,000. I've done it, used it. It's fantastic. They put those credits into your account ASAP. That's the king of sportsbooks, BetMGM. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older. Must be present in the state of Tennessee. For gambling problem support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. So, Ryan, it's good to see you, buddy. Let's jump right into it. All right, our local look ahead here, okay? What we want to do is take a look at some teams here in the local area and what they have on the board this weekend. So we'll start first. Texans at the Titans. Titans are a 10.5-point favorite and a total of 44.5. Your thoughts there?
Yeah, I wrote down 14 for that number, so I obviously lean to the Titans, but Houston has had 2 weeks to prepare. Tyrod Taylor was pretty good the first, game and a half when they beat the Jags, and then it was like a tie score with the Browns week 2 when he hurt the hamstring. He was obviously awful in his first game back. I think he threw 3 picks, if memory serves. But now he's had a little more time, so maybe he'll be a little better. Lean to the Titans, but man, did they let me down the other day with that backdoor cover that I just saw coming a mile away. Fortunately, I hedged a little bit got a little bit of New Orleans there in like early fourth, just because I was worried sick it was going to happen just like that. Doggone it. But anyhow, so yeah, that's my thought. I lean to the Titans, but I'm not saying I'm on it.
So a couple things. First off, in that Titans-Saints game, I had the under 44.5. Yeah, like it all depended on that 2-point conversion. All of it.
Yes.
So the game ended at 44. So, yeah, by the skin of my teeth, it was yeah, we had to sweat it, man. I didn't think we were going to have to sweat much either, man. That first half, dude, it was pretty low scoring.
I was kind of wanting them to get the 2-point conversion and take my chances in overtime of pushing or winning. But, yeah. Didn't happen.
Yeah. Now, a nugget, because the Texans, like you said, they're coming off of a bye, right? So I want everybody to think about this because I've been burned twice now. All right. Went and looked at the numbers. We've had 16 teams play after a bye week. Okay. 11 of them haven't covered. 11.
Wait, how many? I'm sorry. I missed the first
16.
Part. Oh, way up. 11-5. Wow.
Yeah.
Or 5-11 for the
5. Yeah. It's horrible. Like bye weeks they're the complete opposite. Like I've been burned twice now, and it was quite frankly pissing me off. So go, and look, it's horrible, man. It's absolutely horrible. So here's where I'm at. I like the Titans with the spread here. The problem is this. I also kind of like the over in this game, weirdly enough. But the Texans, 3 of their last 4 games have scored under 10 points. Like I can't trust it at all. And speaking about the Titans, let's talk about them really quickly. Since the loss of Derrick Henry, obviously they've won 2 straight against 2 playoff teams. So understand what I'm going to say. That this isn't a negative, but it is something to think about in terms when betting them. All right, against the Rams, the Titans defense essentially manufactured 14 points. Okay, against the Saints, they manufactured 7 points. All right, starting off that second half, getting the fumble off of the initial kickoff return. So I want everyone to understand that I don't know how long that's going to last, but it's not like the Titans' offense is exactly the same. Again, I'm not saying they're negative. I'm not saying they're going to lose any games. I'm not saying any of that whatsoever. What I am saying is that the way that they've been winning games the last 2 have been a little bit different. So keep that in mind when we get to Friday's show, when we start looking at props, we start looking, at different items, especially the total. Like I said, I've been living off Titans totals this season. It's been really nice to me. But there's risk there. And I just want everybody to understand, there's risk that if the defense doesn't grab, 14 points, 7 points in a game, it might affect how you bet the total. So just something to think about. But again, I like the Titans with the spread here. All right, next game, South Alabama at Tennessee. Tennessee is a 28-point favorite and a total of 63. Man, I definitely don't like the over. I don't want to mess around with the under, and I don't want to mess around with 28. It's a weird number. I think for me, I'm going under in this game. I think that's my best play so far. I haven't locked anything in. I'm not saying bet it. Just talking about this. I could see this being a weird, let's just get in, get out. This might honestly, okay, let me take a step back this might be a Vols first quarter, first half play. All right, they've outscored their opponents 148-45 in the first quarter, 148-44 somewhere, one of those two.
Great opening drive against Georgia the other day, too.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what this team does. Like, honestly, I think this might be a first quarter, first half play. I think that's the play. Don't have the numbers in front of me just yet, but yeah, I think that's the play. What do you think?
Okay, well, just a little bit on South Alabama. They've got a new coach, and they were off of a really bad 3-year stretch of going 3-9, 2-10, and 4-7. But they've got one of the best receivers in the country, and Jalen Tolbert, who's going to be I'm not saying he's going to be a first-round pick, but he'll be top 3 or 4 rounds, which, is notable being, a lower-tier Sunbelt school. And they had Jake Bentley, who everybody will remember was a 3 years and 1 game starter for South Carolina, and then he got injured in the North Carolina opener in 2019, and then transferred to Utah last year and got hurt there. And he was having a really good season for South Alabama, but he tore his MCL, I think it was in the Troy game 2 weeks ago. Now, they do have a veteran quarterback who started a lot behind him, Desmond.
They're not a bad team.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Desmond Trotter, who he was their starter for 14 games the last 2 years. And he started, obviously, this past week. They lost 31-7 at App State. But last year, he had an 11-4 TD-INT ratio, completed 64.5% of his balls. And, they do have a big-time wide receiver in Jalen Tolbert. But they were playing a lot better with Jake Bentley. They actually got out to a 3-0 start, and then they lost by 2 to Billy Napier's Lafayette team that has only lost once this season. Oh, no, they got upset the other day by – oh, wait, did they get – no, they're still only lost once this season. I'm sorry, my apologies. Georgia State upset somebody the other day. Anyhow, and so they lost by 2 to UL Lafayette, by 2 to Texas State. Then they beat Georgia Southern. Yeah, so whatever. South Alabama's got a decent team, but they're without Jake Bentley.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not a bad team at all. That's why I don't really want to mess with the spread. The total, man, like Tennessee in the second half, like it's so weird that Tennessee in the first half, and especially the first quarters as we've seen, can just score at will. The second half, they have work to do in terms of running the clock out because they don't necessarily put up points, but they don't run the ball. It's weird. Like I just don't want to mess with it. I think a first quarter, first half, once we get the numbers out, I think that's the play on this one. All right, last game in terms of the local look ahead, Vanderbilt and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 36.5-point favorite, a total of 64.5. I'm not betting Ole Miss with a spread of 5 touchdowns and a field goal. Not saying they can't do it. That's just so much. It's just so much in a game that I doubt Lane Kiffin is going to care about. You look at the total, 64.5. I don't like anything. I don't like anything in this game. What are your thoughts here?
I was going to say 21 or fewer in the first half. I would like Ole Miss, but I'm going to Vegas Insider, and DraftKings has got Ole Miss at 23 in the first half, and they have. And by the way, I should have looked up while we were talking Tennessee, but they have Tennessee minus 15.5 in the first half. That's just one book, DraftKings. So
15.5, huh? All right, keep going.
No, I didn't really have much else. I was, like I said, if it was 21 or fewer on Ole Miss in the first half, I might do it against Vandy. 23 might be a little too rich for my taste. And in terms of the total, we just don't know if we're going to get anything out of Vandy I know Ken Seals was back the other day. I looked at the box score, but I saw a split time. I don't know if he got hurt again or was ineffective. It looked like both quarterbacks were ineffective. And Vandy's lost to Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't like anything in this Vanderbilt Ole Miss game. All right, on that Tennessee one, I'm going to wait till I see what the first quarter number is. If the first quarter number, let's just take an educated guess here. If the first half is 15.5, first quarter, they're not going to drop it much.
No, I think it'll be 9.5, maybe 10, though. Maybe.
I'd ride with that. I think I'd ride with anything under 12.5, to be completely honest with you.
It's probably 10 at least, I would think.
Yeah, I could do them going 10.5 just to make you. Yeah. I bet that's exactly what it's going to be. Yeah. And I'd ride with that, honestly. First quarter, if that's what it is, I'd ride with it for sure. All right. Next, let's take a look at the SEC here in week 12. God, it's crazy to think that we're already in week 12 here. I'm not going to, read through every game. Everybody, you can read it. You definitely don't want to hear my voice that much. Understand, though, that there are some teams in the SEC that are playing against Division II, whatever you call it now, FCS teams. So not every SEC squad has a line this week. There's only really one that I like.
I know what it is.
It's Alabama. No, it's Alabama, 20.5. I think this is the time where Alabama, they know what time it is. Nick Saban knows what time it is. And nothing against Arkansas. But if you're giving me Bama 20.5, and this has nothing to do with last week in terms of them beating up on New Mexico State. But I think that this is where Alabama realizes it's time to be a professional and it's time to go. So that's the only one I'm riding so far. 20.5. What do you got?
I love Missouri, plus 8.5. The Gators are just in shambles. They're giving absolutely zero effort. They had never given up 42 points in a half in the history of Florida Gators football, ever, to anybody, to like number one teams in the country, eventual national champions. And Samford, with a 4-5 record at the FCS level, scored 42 points in the first half on the Gators. Missouri kind of had a, Bazelak returned, and, Tyler Beatty's quiet. I mean, I know this team's not very good, but he's quietly having a great year, and Missouri runs the ball a lot better than LSU and South Carolina, and LSU and South Carolina just gashed Florida's run defense. I think Tyler Beatty is going to have a monster game. I like Missouri plus the 8.5, and I'll be on them a little bit on the money line plus 250, and quite frankly, I'll be rooting for Missouri to make sure, because I got to root for the Gators against Florida State to make sure that Mullen gets canned, because this thing has gone so sideways. I will legit, honestly, be rooting for Mizzou plus 250 money line and plus 8.5. Love it. Oh, and I'm gonna probably be on the other side of you there. How dare I rarely fade Bama, but
yeah.
Arkansas 7-3. Bama just has not played.
Agreed.
Great
right.
lately. Yeah. Now, I know that's all the more reason for them to break out and have a monster game. I just don't think their defense is that great this year. Now, I think Bryce Young can get that offense rolling for sure. But Arkansas.
No, let me say, I agree with you. We try to, in terms of betting, and I think everybody does this, we try to talk ourselves into teams and into names, right? So like you just said, and I'm not being negative on you, I'm saying I do this all the time to where I'm like, well, Bama hasn't turned it on. They haven't turned it on. They haven't turned it on. This is the time they do it. Dude, when a team is showing you who they are, listen, right? Listen to it. There's nothing, your side is way more correct and built on historics than my side is in terms of Alabama, right? The only thing we've really seen is that New Mexico State game last week, and they're horrible, right? Other than that, yes, I mean, you are correct. Bama's kind of shown us all year that they're not Alabama of last year, right? Which is going to be an impossible thing to live up to. But I think that's an important thing for any bettor that, don't bet names. And I'm kind of doing it right now. Don't bet names, bet teams that are showing you who they are. Look at the Rams last night. The Los Angeles Rams, and Sean McVay was doing this last night after the game. He was like, this is uncharacteristic. Buddy, you've had two games that were identical. They were exactly the same. You spotted the other team 14 points to start with interceptions, and your team is soft and can't come back, right? So, yeah, I'll stop there. I think that's a good point, though, by you, man. Don't bet teams. Bet what they're doing. Really quickly, I might be on the other side of this LSU game UL Monroe plus 29. I could see them kind of wanting, to go up against big bad LSU and LSU not give a damn whatsoever. And I might ride that plus 29. Also, last week, we broke down this Wake Forest plan. All right, I want to get to this really quickly. Okay, we broke down this Wake Forest plan that they were our bet of the week, 2.5 against NC State. Because we knew, and their locker room knew, that if they win that NC State game, they're going to the conference championship. But step 2, so they took care of business. They win by 3. It was close, but we covered, we won. Now, the second step of this plan was that this next game for Wake Forest against Clemson, they're not going to care whatsoever. So I know that we're just talking about SEC right now, but you could pencil me in on Clemson minus 3.5. You could absolutely write that one down for me. I'm writing it. I'm writing this Wake Forest plan that we had. I like it, and I'm going to continue, and I'm going to see it out. All right.
And I like how our friends at BetMGM have that 3.5 number, and they're the only ones that have it. The rest of the books are at 4, which, if memory serves, that was the look-ahead line from DraftKings last week was 4.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with it. I am absolutely with it. Yeah. So, all right. So let's go to the NFL here. So again, you can see it on the bottom. I'm not going to read through all the games. Let me go ahead and say this.
I know what you're going to say.
This board is disgusting. This board is disgusting this week. Like, it's not great in college football. It is hideous in the NFL. There are a couple plays here that I like. First one, and we're going to figure out, the status of Kyler Murray. Give me the Cardinals and Seahawks under 49.5. Absolutely give me that under. I don't trust Seattle whatsoever. I know that they played last week in Green Bay in the snow, in the cold, and Russell Wilson coming off. Like, I think we went 5-1 in NFL picks last weekend, and not saying it's going to carry over, but I don't trust this Seahawks offense, even if Russell Wilson's good to go. So give me the Cardinals Seahawks under 49.5. Give me the Bills minus 7, because not only do I think that they've got it figured out because they're healthy again, right? Like, Dawson Knox coming back alone is massive for this team. And against the Jets, yes, the Jets defense is horrible. But the Colts, I want to see a game where they're not getting defensive DPI calls after DPI calls after DPI calls, because you know what? This Bills secondary can play straight up, and they don't get a lot of them, right? So I want to see what the Colts can do. Now, don't get me wrong. The Colts have been a consistent team. Jonathan Taylor generally goes for 100 yards. Let's see it. Do it against this Bills team. All right. So I'm going to go Bills minus 7. I'm going to go Cardinals Seahawks under 49.5. That's all that I have. I'll also say this sounds crazy, I really like the Bucks minus 11 this week. I haven't pulled the trigger yet because I want to figure out if Antonio Brown is going to be playing or not, and what kind of, snap percentage he's going to see. The only thing that worries me, which is weird, is that Tom Brady in primetime games just doesn't play well at all. But him coming off a game where, quite frankly, they looked horrible, and he was pissed the hell off about it too. That might negate that. But yeah, Cardinals Seahawks under 49.5, Bills minus 7. That's what I got. What do you got?
Oh, I just love the Patriots. Now we don't know for sure, but Cordarrelle Patterson sprained his ankle. And I don't even know what time the Falcons practiced today, but they probably have already practiced. I didn't see an update, but I know he didn't practice yesterday, and they're very concerned. And Bill Belichick, with no Calvin Ridley and no Cordarrelle Patterson, what just happened there?
Hey, can I say this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
So we talked about this last week. All right, the Patriots is one of our picks. Bill Belichick has made a damn career out of, if you come into a game, what's the word I'm looking for? One-dimensional. He will absolutely make you zero-dimensional.
That's Kyle Pitts, and that's Kyle Pitts.
He did that to the Browns, and I think you're right. Like, if the Falcons don't have CP, this could be bad news for them. And the Patriots actually play better on the road than they do at home. You're talking me into this pick here, and the interesting thing is this, and I'll let you get back to it. I didn't mean to take over, but we've got a Thursday night game where the Patriots essentially won by 40 and the Falcons lost by 40.
Right.
Like, I've never seen anything like that before. So yeah, keep going, man.
Yeah. So, and like you said, on the road, New England's 4-0 straight up, 3-1 against the spread. And regardless of venue, they've won 4 in a row, both straight up and against the spread. And they've won 5 of their last 6. And the only loss was that home loss to the Cowboys in overtime when they had the pick 6 I want to say it was in the fourth quarter or some point in the second half. And not only is Ridley out, Patterson might be out, but Hayden Hurst is questionable as well. And like you said, we're both going to say Belichick's going to take Kyle Pitts away. I mean, they're going to have him double, triple covered.
J.C. Jackson alone and someone else will be shadowing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to take Pitts away, and Matt Ryan is not going to have much to work with. And the Falcons' defense is atrocious, and the Patriots' offense is absolutely rolling. And I rarely like the road team on a short week in the NFL, but I think the Patriots are going to win this game by double digits, and I think it's the easiest play on the board, assuming Patterson's not going to play. And I still like it if he plays, but I love it if he doesn't play. Look, nice win by the Eagles. Nice win at Denver and all. And I know it's Trevor Siemian, but the wrong team's favored in that Saints-Eagles game. The Saints are kind of desperate for a win right now. And I know they're going to travel again, but I haven't looked at the weather up there, but and that's not New Orleans doesn't like to play in cold weather, but I think the Saints find a way to get that one. And
their defense is good.
Yeah, exactly.
Defense is good, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. Yeah, I think the defense is going to carry them to victory.
You're not going to run the ball on them. Like I agree. Right. Like and if that Eagles team is built off Jalen Hurts, which it's not him running the ball. Like, I mean, he does put the ball in the air. Like, obviously, they've only started running the ball like the last 3 weeks. But I'm with you. That Saints defense, man, like they could play, dude. They'll stop your run.
Now we need to get Kamara back, and I don't know what I haven't looked at that. I mean, obviously it's early in the week. Do you know anything that I don't? There is questionable.
No, I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah. Now, I might be on the other side of you on Tampa Bay and the Giants, just because of the Giants, that great road underdog record. We came through again at KC the other week, and
it's real. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're going to get Saquon back. I'm not sure about Galladay or Shepard, and the Giants have had 2 weeks, so I know Kadarius's ankle is a lot better. So again, I got to know about those injuries, but I'll be eyeing the Giants if the injuries help out in that department. And there was one other I had. I am not sure which one it was. Oh, I just need to know about Big Ben on the Chargers game. And there's a chance he'll play, kind of like A-Raj this past week, right? Yep. All right. So, that's it. So New England and the Saints right now, and maybe the Giants, and we'll have more on Friday.
So I'll say this. The Chargers cannot stop the run at all. No. Like, it might not even matter if Ben's playing or not. Najee Harris, whenever you see props come out, my God, like, get on them. They're not that good. Okay, so building our perfect parlay. So this isn't locked in stone. And what we want to do in this segment here is we just build and use Tuesday to set up, kind of whiteboard out what our perfect parlay is for this weekend. And Friday, we kind of lock it in. I've got 4 teams here. All right, money line for NFL. It's at plus 145 right now, so it's not a big payday by any means, but I'm going to play around with it. The Patriots, the Bills, the Titans, and the Bucks. I think those 4 teams win. Again, nothing to do with spreads, just money line. I think those 4 win. I'm going to add to it. I'm going to mess with this, tweak it a little bit before we get to Friday's show, 2 p.m. Central, by the way. But that's what I've got right now. Patriots, Bills, Titans, Bucks. I think of anything, those 4 teams at least win their games. What do you got?
Yeah, so money line, NFL, I think we're good with the Titans. I think we are good with the Niners, although it is across the country on a short week.
Can I say this real quick?
Go ahead.
Like, The Jaguars, since this Urban Meyer blonde woman incident, buddy, they're 2-2 and could have been 3-1. I'm just gonna say it. Like, they're not playing terrible. Like, it's actually Trevor Lawrence that's kind of held them back a little bit. So, anyways, I'm just gonna put that out there.
Right, yeah, and it's a red flag to go across the country on a short week after a Monday night, especially a win. But that's more toward the spread, and in a money line parlay would only have to win outright. So I will still go with the Niners, and let's go Patriots, and let's go Browns, and I already said Titans. So that would be a 4-teamer. Hopefully that would get us to plus money. I'm sure I would think it would. And we'll stop there for now.
All right. And I want to highlight Lucas Bergs, which everybody, thank you so much. Obviously tuning in, being in the chat. And Brian, I'm going to ask you this question in 1 second. Okay. Let me move real quick. Zach Goodman says South Carolina State covered a spread tonight against Georgia in basketball. I know that this wasn't on our list of games breaking down, but Brian, and maybe just a couple minutes, if you've got some thoughts on it, would love to hear it for Zach. Lucas says spread went from Arizona plus 2.5 to minus 2.5. Kyler Murray is playing. Okay. Yeah. So that changes it for sure. I still think him coming back, I kind of like it in that spot for the under as well. Like, I kind of actually weirdly like it, not more, but.
Well,
yeah.
I bet the total is probably going to go up a little too.
Yep, it is. So, yeah, good call there too. Good call. So, good eye, Lucas, and good eye, Brian. So, yeah, Brian, any thoughts that you have on South Carolina State? And it's probably more breaking down Georgia, against them in this game. Just any thoughts that you have for Zach? Yeah,
so South Carolina State is 0-4, but they've been quasi respectable. They're 2-1-1 against the spread. They lost by 8 at East Carolina. They lost by 12 to Lipscomb, but Lipscomb's a pretty good low major program. They were in the tournament a couple years ago. They lost by 10 to Loyola, Maryland. They did get smashed by College of Charleston by 32, but the College of Charleston's out to a 3-0 start. So Georgia, they actually I faded them with Cincinnati last week, but I faded them for the game and the first half. I hit Cincinnati minus 5.5 in the first half, but I lost them minus 10.5. Georgia actually only lost by 5, but my man, it's definitely South Carolina State or pass, and I might have a little small baby play on South Carolina State because Georgia's, I don't know if they're going to win any games by more than 20 this year. And good call. Like, keep them on your fade radar like we talked about last week.
Yeah, I like it. Now, all right, before we wrap up, we've got 3 Maction games tonight. Some pretty good ones. Brian, any thoughts, any picks that you have on these games?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the over on 2 of them, and I know it's mid-November and we're up north, but I went to weather.com, and these games are going to have – the weather is not going to be an issue. The Western Michigan at Eastern Michigan game, temperatures in the upper 30s, no snow, no rain. The over's on a 4-1 run for Western Michigan, combined scores of 85, 72, 95, and 65, and the over's on a 3-1 run for Eastern Michigan. Those 3 overs were 69, 79, and 101. So I'm going to go over 66 on Western Michigan at Eastern Michigan. And then for Bowling Green and Miami of Ohio, I'm going to go over 51.5. The weather's going to be even better for that one in Ohio. Like, it's going to be like mid 40s. And anyhow, the overs cashed in 5 straight for Bowling Green. Those combined scores have been 66, 100, 79, 60, and 55, which are all obviously over 51.5, like tonight's total. And the over is also hit in back-to-back games for Miami of Ohio, combined scores of 63 and 68. And Miami of Ohio quarterback Brett Gabbert, outstanding season, 14-1 TDI-NT ratio in the last 5 games, 18-3 for the year. So over 51.5 for Bowling Green at Miami of Ohio, and over 66 for Western Michigan at Eastern Michigan. Maction, those games are televised. Let's hope for lots of points.
I like it. And I think you're right. Like, I was looking at these games last night, and these are teams that put up points, man. Like, I think they're going to be really fun games tonight for sure. So that's all the time that we have for today. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure, if you haven't, download that BetMGM app. Use promo code A to Z Sports. Get a risk-free bet of up to $1,000. Thank you to A to Z Sports. Thank you to BetMGM. And thank you to Brian Edwards for some nice picks tonight up in Maction. Brian, any final thoughts that you have before we go?
New Jersey, NJIT plus 19 at Rutgers tonight in college hoops.
Oh, all right. I like it. I like it. Brian, my man's always got some picks. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you Friday, 2 p.m. Central. Thank you.
Good luck, everybody.